Welcome back my channel Old Cryptocoin and new Video Liberty Wheat Penny 1 cent 4 coin. Imagine opening an old wooden box tucked away in an attic, brushing aside decades of dust, and discovering 4 humble Liberty Wheat pennies resting quietly inside. At first glance, they may appear to be ordinary 1 cent coins, yet each carries a silent memory of a different chapter in American history. Long before modern pocket change filled cash registers and digital payments became routine, these small bronze coins traveled through bustling city streets, family-owned shops, railroad stations, and rural farms, passing from one generation to another. Every scratch, faded surface, and worn edge reflects countless transactions and personal stories that have disappeared with time. The Wheat Penny series remains one of the most recognizable American coin designs because of its simple elegance, historical significance, and enduring popularity among collectors. Whether found in a family collection, an old coin jar, or an inherited estate, a group of 4 Liberty Wheat pennies instantly invites curiosity, encouraging collectors to wonder where each coin has traveled and what remarkable moments in American history it may have quietly witnessed. The design itself continues to captivate collectors more than a century after its introduction. The obverse displays the iconic portrait of Liberty wearing a traditional headdress, surrounded by carefully engraved lettering and a date that forever connects the coin to a specific moment in history. On the reverse, 2 graceful wheat stalks frame the denomination and the name of the nation, creating one of the most memorable designs ever placed on a circulating American coin. The balanced artwork combines simplicity with symbolism, representing agriculture, growth, and national prosperity during an era when farming played a central role in everyday American life. As these coins circulated for years, natural ware gradually softened the highest points of the design, making sharply preserved examples increasingly difficult to locate. Even subtle differences in strike quality, surface texture, original color, and remaining mint luster can transform an ordinary-looking wheat penny into a highly desirable collectible admired by experienced numismatists. Although millions of wheat pennies entered circulation over many decades, production conditions were never exactly identical from one year or mint to another. Coins struck at different United States mint facilities may display subtle differences in lettering sharpness, strike pressure, die wear, or overall appearance that attract the attention of dedicated collectors. Some examples reveal stronger details in Liberty's portrait, while others show slightly different rim formation or spacing within the inscriptions due to normal die preparation and production changes. In addition to standard issues, genuine mint errors occasionally escaped into circulation, including off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, die cracks, lamination errors, and other unusual manufacturing characteristics. These authentic mint-produced varieties continue to fascinate collectors, because each one represents an unexpected moment inside the minting process, rather than damage that occurred after the coin entered circulation. As interest in wheat pennies expanded over the decades, collectors began studying preservation more carefully than ever before. A coin that spent years protected inside an album may retain original mint color, sharper design details, and stronger eye appeal than another example of the same date that circulated heavily for decades. Specialists often examine the highest design points first, looking for evidence of wear across Liberty's portrait, lettering, rims, and reverse wheat stalks. Original surfaces, natural toning, and the absence of harsh cleaning frequently contribute to stronger collector appeal. Because even minor environmental damage or improper cleaning can permanently affect desirability, experienced collectors generally recommend preserving older coins in appropriate holders and avoiding unnecessary polishing. The goal is not simply to make an old coin appear shiny, but to preserve its authentic historical character for future generations. Only after understanding the history, design, and preservation of these coins does the conversation naturally turn toward their potential collector value. Most circulated wheat pennies remain affordable collectibles, allowing beginners to assemble interesting sets without extraordinary expense. However, authenticated high-grade examples displaying exceptional preservation, rare date and mint combinations, or verified mint errors may attract much stronger collector attention. In some documented auction sales or private transactions, particularly rare and professionally authenticated specimens have reached impressive prices because of their scarcity, eye appeal, historical importance, and strong collector demand. Even so, Every reported value should be viewed as an estimate based on auction records, collector discussions, published references, and current market observations rather than a guaranteed selling price. Market conditions continue to evolve, meaning identical-looking coins may sell for different amounts depending on timing, certification, buyer interest, and overall demand. For anyone examining a group of 4 Liberty wheat pennies, patience and careful observation are far more valuable than quick assumptions. Begin by comparing each coin individually, checking its weight against official specifications, studying the metal appearance for consistency, inspecting strike alignment, examining the rim for unusual characteristics, and carefully reviewing lettering, numerals, and spacing under proper lighting. Small differences that initially appear insignificant sometimes deserve closer professional evaluation, while obvious damage may simply reflect decades of circulation rather than mint-produced rarity. Because counterfeit coins, altered dates, and post-mint modifications occasionally appear in the marketplace, professional authentication or third-party grading remains one of the most reliable ways to confirm authenticity, identify genuine varieties, and establish an accurate assessment before making any buying or selling decisions. Perhaps the greatest appeal of collecting wheat pennies is not the possibility of discovering an unusually valuable coin, but the opportunity to hold tangible pieces of American history. Step 1 Liberty Wheat Penny 1 cent coin 1957D. At first glance, it appears to be nothing more than a modest copper coin that once passed from one pair of hands to another during an ordinary day in America, yet the 1957 D. Lincoln Wheat Penny quietly carries the story of a nation standing between tradition and transformation. Struck at the Denver Mint during the closing years of the Wheat Cent series, this small 1-cent coin represents an era when millions of Americans still relied on cash for nearly every daily purchase, from newspapers and bus fares to a loaf of bread at the neighborhood grocery store. Every surviving example has traveled a different path through history, collecting tiny marks, subtle wear, and unique characteristics that make each coin an individual witness to the late 1950s. The familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, created by Victor David Brenner, reflects dignity and endurance, while the reverse displays 2 graceful wheat stalks framing the denomination and the words 1 cent, a design that become one of the most recognizable symbols in American coinage since 1909. The small D mint mark beneath the date identifies the Denver Mint as its place of origin, connecting the coin to one of the busiest production facilities in the United States mint system. Although hundreds of millions of these pennies were produced, time has quietly reduced the number of pieces that remain in exceptional condition, and that simple fact has inspired generations of collectors to search through old jars, inherited collections, estate boxes, and forgotten albums, wondering whether an ordinary-looking cent might actually preserve an extraordinary story hidden within its copper surface. As the presses of the Denver Mint operated with remarkable speed during 1957, blank planchets were transformed into finished coins through immense pressure that permanently impressed every letter, date, and design element into the metal. The coin was struck from an alloy consisting primarily of copper with small amount of tin and zinc, weighing approximately 3.11 grams and measuring about 19 millimeters in diameter. While these specifications remain consistent, the striking process itself could produce subtle differences that now fascinate collectors. Some examples reveal unusually sharp details in Lincoln's hair, crisp wheat lines, and bold lettering, while others display softer strikes caused by normal production variations. Even slight differences in die, wear, planchet preparation, or striking pressure can give one coin a noticeably different appearance from another produced only moments apart. These natural minting characteristics have become part of the educational appeal of the 1957 D. Wheat Penny, encouraging collectors to study coins carefully rather than assuming every example is identical. The beauty of this issue is not found in dramatic rarity alone, but in the countless small details that reward careful observation, reminding collectors that history often survives in the smallest objects, quietly preserving evidence of the technology, craftsmanship, and manufacturing practices of its time. Liberty Wheat Penny 1 cent coin 1951D. At first glance, this small bronze coin may seem like nothing more than an ordinary piece of American pocket change, but the 1951D Liberty Wheat Penny carries a remarkable story hidden beneath decades of circulation and history. Produced during a period when the United States was experiencing rapid post-war growth, this 1 cent coin quietly passed to the hands of workers, students, shopkeepers, and families who likely never imagined that future collectors would carefully examine every tiny detail under bright lights and magnifying lenses. Struck at the Denver Mint. Identified by the small D mint mark beneath the date, this coin represents the closing years of the beloved wheat cent design before a major change arrived later in the decade. Every scratch, every worn edge, and every remaining trace of original mint luster tells part of a journey that began more than 70 years ago, inviting modern collectors to look beyond face value and appreciate the history preserved in a single cent. The design itself has remained one of the most recognizable images in American coinage. On the front appears a familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, whose calm expression reflects dignity and resilience, while the inscription surrounding the portrait reinforce the nation's ideals. Turning the coin over reveals a classic pair of wheat ears framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, a design that symbolized agriculture, prosperity, and the country's enduring connection to hard work. The warm bronze color, composed primarily of copper with small amounts of tin and zinc, develops a unique appearance over time, ranging from bright original red surfaces to rich brown patina created by decades of natural aging. Collectors often find themselves fascinated by these color variations because they provide clues about how well the coin has been preserved throughout its lifetime without changing the historical identity of the piece itself. Although millions of 1951 D-wheat pennies were produced, the journey from the mint to everyday circulation created countless differences between surviving examples. Some coins entered commerce immediately and accumulated heavy were from years of daily transactions, while others were tucked away in rolls, jars, albums, or family collections before experiencing significant circulation. Small differences in strike quality, rim sharpness, lettering clarity, and surface preservation make every surviving example unique in its own way. Careful collectors often compare the strength of Lincoln's hair details, the crispness of the wheat stalks, the definition of the lettering, and the overall balance of the strike. These subtle characteristics transform an ordinary-looking coin into an educational puzzle that encourages observation rather than assumption, making the collecting experience as rewarding as the search itself. Another reason the 1951 D-wheat penny continues to attract attention is the possibility of discovering interesting mint varieties or production errors. While the overwhelming majority of coins were struck normally, specialists remain interested in authenticated examples displaying features such as off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, repunched mint marks from earlier production practices, or other genuine mint-created anomalies. These unusual pieces are significantly less common than standard examples and require careful examination because ordinary circulation damage can sometimes resemble true mint errors. Responsible collectors understand that authentication is essential before assigning additional value to any unusual-looking coin, and professional grading services can help determine whether a distinctive feature originated during the minting process or resulted from later handling. This careful approach protects both buyers and sellers while preserving confidence within the collecting community. As interest in historic American coinage has continued to grow, the 1951 D-wheat penny has remained a favorite among beginners and experienced numismatists alike. It offers an accessible connection to American history while still providing opportunities for meaningful discoveries. Many collectors enjoy searching original bankrolls, inherited collections, estate sales, and old coin jars in hopes of finding examples with exceptional preservation or overlooked characteristics. Others focus on assembling complete wheat penny collections, where every date and mint mark contributes another chapter to the larger story of 20th century United States coinage. The appeal of this coin extends beyond its age because it represents a period when craftsmanship, consistency, and practical everyday use came together in one of America's longest-running coin designs. When discussions turn to market value, it is important to approach the subject realistically. Most circulated 1951 D-wheat pennies remain affordable collectibles, while examples displaying strong original surfaces, outstanding eye appeal, or certified mint state grades often receive greater attention from collectors. Authenticated coins with verified mint errors or exceptionally high professional grades may, in some cases, achieve significantly higher prices at auctions or private sales depending on rarity, condition, grading results, buyer interest, and current market demand. However, every value discussed within the hobby represents an estimate based on collective discussions, published price guides, auction records, and broader market observations rather than any guarantee of future performance. Prices naturally rise and fall as supply, demand, and collector preferences continue to change over time. For anyone fortunate enough to discover a 1951 DeWitt penny, careful examination is always the best first step before making assumptions about rarity or value. Observe the coin's weight if appropriate equipment is available. Study the metal appearance under proper lighting. Inspect the strike alignment. Evaluate the condition of the rim. And compare the lettering for unusual characteristics that may deserve closer attention. Avoid harsh cleaning, because even well-intentioned polishing can permanently reduce collector interest and alter the coin's original surfaces. If a piece appears unusually well-preserved or displays a feature that seems different from ordinary examples, seeking professional authentication or grading before buying, selling, or assigning significant value is the most responsible course of action. Step 3. Liberty Wheat Penny 1 Cent Coin 1945. Imagine holding a small bronze coin that quietly traveled to one of the most important years in modern history, a year when the Second World War was drawing to a close and millions of Americans looked toward a future filled with hope and rebuilding. The 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny is more than a 1-cent coin. It is a surviving witness to a remarkable moment in American history. Every worn edge, every softened detail, and every tiny mark left by circulation tells a story of everyday people buying groceries, mailing letters, and supporting a nation experiencing historic change. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse features a familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, while the reverse proudly displays two graceful wheat stalks surrounding the words 1 cent and United States of America. Unlike many modern coins, the wheat penny carries a timeless appearance that instantly connects collectors with an earlier era. Although millions were produced, every surviving example has followed a unique path through history, making even common pieces fascinating to examine. As collectors look closer, they begin to notice subtle differences in strike quality, color, preservation, and mint origin, transforming what first appears to be an ordinary coin into an object filled with historical mystery and lasting collectible appeal. During 1945, the United States Mint resumed producing bronze Lincoln cents after the unusual steel cent of 1943 had already become part of American coin history. By this time, the familiar alloy of approximately 95% copper with small amounts of tin and zinc had returned, giving the coin its warm reddish appearance when freshly struck. These pennies were produced at Philadelphia without a mint mark, at Denver with a D mint mark, and at San Francisco with the S mint mark, each facility contributing millions of coins to meet the nation's demand for everyday commerce. Although all three mints followed the same official design, experienced collectors often notice subtle differences in strike sharpness, luster, and overall eye appeal depending on the mint and individual dies used during production. The wheat penny circulated heavily because 1-cent coins were essential to daily transactions, meaning truly well-preserved examples became less common over time. Every surviving coin carries evidence of its own journey, and that simple fact continues to attract collectors who appreciate history preserved in metal rather than only in books. Looking closely at a genuine 1945 wheat penny reveals countless details that reward careful observation. Lincoln's portrait displays finely sculpted hair strands, a distinct coat, and clear facial features when the coin remains well preserved. The reverse showcases two elegant wheat ears framing bold lettering that symbolizes America's agricultural strength and national identity. Collectors often examine the sharpness of the wheat kernels, the clarity of the lettering, the separation within Lincoln's hair, and the overall balance of the strike. Tiny variations in die wear or striking pressure may produce coins with stronger or weaker details even within the same mint. Over decades of circulation, many pieces develop attractive brown patinas, while others retain portions of their original red mint color, creating different visual categories appreciated by collectors. The combination of color, luster, and surface preservation gives every individual coin its own personality, making side-by-side comparisons both educational and surprisingly enjoyable. As interest grows, many collectors begin searching beyond ordinary circulation pieces and become fascinated by possible mint varieties and production errors associated with the 1945 wheat penny. Some examine coins for doubled lettering, repunched mint marks on appropriate issues, off-center strikes, die cracks, clip planchets, or other genuine mint-made irregularities that occasionally escape quality control. Such discoveries are uncommon, and many marks that appear unusual are simply the result of circulation damage or environmental exposure rather than true mint errors. Because appearances alone can be misleading, experienced numismatists encourage careful comparison with verified references before drawing conclusions. A genuine mint error authenticated by recognized experts generally receives much greater collector attention than an unverified claim. This careful process of investigation is part of what makes coin collecting so rewarding, transforming each examination into a lesson about minting technology, production methods, and historical craftsmanship. The condition of a 1945 wheat penny plays a major role in how collectors view its desirability. Coins that spend decades in circulation naturally display worn surfaces, softened lettering, and reduced detail, while pieces preserved in rolls, albums, or collections may still exhibit impressive original luster and sharp design features. Professional grading services evaluate factors such as strike quality, wear, surface preservation, eye appeal, and overall originality before assigning a grade that helps collectors communicate condition consistently. High-grade examples are significantly less common than circulated pieces because relatively few escaped everyday use. Collectors also value attractive natural toning when it develops evenly over time without evidence of improper cleaning or artificial alteration. Cleaning a coin in an attempt to improve its appearance often reduces collector interest because original surfaces are highly respected within the numismatic community. Careful storage in appropriate holders and a stable environment remains one of the best ways to preserve these historic coins for future generations. When discussions turn toward value, the story becomes even more interesting. But it is important to remain realistic. Many circulated 1945 wheat pennies are widely available and may carry modest collector premiums depending on condition and mint mark. Better preserved examples with original mint luster generally receive stronger interest, while certified mint state coins often command considerably higher prices than heavily worn pieces. Authenticated examples displaying exceptional preservation or verified mint errors may attract increased attention from advanced collectors and, in rare situations, have reached notable auction or private sale results. However, every reported value depends on multiple factors, including rarity, condition, step loss Liberty wheat penny 1 cent coin 1926. Imagine reaching into an old wooden drawer, opening a forgotten family coin album, or discovering a dusty jar tucked away in an attic, only to find a small copper coin that has quietly witnessed nearly a century of American history. The 1926 Liberty wheat penny is far more than a 1 cent piece that once passed from hand to hand during ordinary purchases. It represents a fascinating period when the United States was experiencing dramatic economic growth, expanding cities, and rapidly changing technology during the Roaring Twenties. Every mark, every edge, and every carefully engraved detail reflects the craftsmanship of the United States Mint and the artistic vision behind one of America's most recognizable coin designs. Created by sculptor Victor David Brenner, the obverse displays a familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, while the reverse features two elegant wheat ears surrounding the denomination and country name, a design that became a lasting symbol of American coinage for decades. Millions of these pennies entered circulation during 1926, traveling through banks, grocery stores, train stations, post offices, and family businesses before gradually disappearing into collections, jars, and forgotten keepsakes. Today, collectors continue searching for examples that survive with exceptional detail because each surviving coin tells a unique story shaped by decades of circulation, careful preservation, or fortunate storage. Although many 1926 wheat pennies remain affordable collectibles, subtle differences in strike quality, mint origin, surface preservation, and originality create endless opportunities for discovery, making this humble cent one of the most rewarding classic American coins to study. During 1926, the United States Mint produced Lincoln wheat pennies at Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, creating 3 distinct mint varieties that continue attracting collector interest today. Coins struck in Philadelphia carry no mint mark beneath the date, while examples from Denver display a small D, and San Francisco pieces bear the familiar S. Although all 3 share the same basic design and bronze composition, collectors have long noticed differences in strike sharpness, production quality, and overall availability. Some issues from this year are known for softer details caused by worn dyes or heavy production demands, leaving Lincoln's hair, beard, and the wheat ears less sharply defined and on stronger strikes. These subtle characteristics encourage careful comparison because two coins with the same date may display noticeably different visual appeal. Even among circulated examples, differences in color can reveal important clues about preservation. Bright original red surfaces are far less common than red-brown or chocolate-brown examples because copper naturally changes color over time when exposed to air, moisture, and handling. Collectors appreciate coins that retain original surfaces without excessive cleaning or artificial alteration, since originality often contributes more to long-term desirability than unnatural brightness. Every tiny feature, from the rim and lettering to the spacing of design elements, invites closer examination and reminds collectors that history often hides within the smallest details. As these pennies circulated throughout America, they accompanied ordinary citizens during an extraordinary decade filled with innovation and optimism. They crossed counters in neighborhood shops, rode inside leather wallets carried by factory workers, farmers, teachers, railroad employees, and children buying candy after school. Few people could have imagined that these everyday coins would someday become carefully studied historical artifacts. Years of circulation gradually softened Lincoln's portrait, flattened the wheat stalks, and wore away fine details. Yet every scratch and smooth surface reflects a genuine journey through American life rather than flaw alone. Some examples escaped heavy wear because they were saved shortly after entering circulation, while others remained hidden in side collections for generations. Modern collectors often enjoy imagining where an individual coin may have traveled and whose hands once carried it. This connection between history and imagination adds emotional value beyond any catalog listing. Rather than representing only metal and design, the 1926 wheat penny serves as a small historical witness that silently survived changing generations, economic hardships, world events, and technological progress before arriving in the hands of today's collectors, each preserving another chapter of its remarkable journey. Collectors also pay close attention to minting characteristics that distinguish ordinary pieces from especially desirable examples. Slight differences in die preparation, striking pressure, and production equipment occasionally produced unusual varieties or mint errors that continue attracting attention. Depending on the individual coin, collectors may encounter off-center strikes, die cracks, die chips, repunched mint marks on appropriate issues, or other verified production anomalies documented by specialists. However, not every unusual appearance represents a genuine mint error, as circulation damage, environmental exposure, and post-mint alterations can sometimes create misleading features. Responsible collectors examine the coin's weight, metal appearance, strike alignment, rim details, lettering style, and overall consistency before reaching conclusions. Professional authentication and grading remain the most reliable methods for confirming significant varieties or valuable mint errors. Careful study, patience, and comparison with trusted references often reveal far more than quick assumptions, allowing collectors to appreciate both ordinary examples and genuinely unusual discoveries with greater confidence and historical understanding.